Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to call on stage Dr. Yoji Natori, Science of Action Manager at Conservation International Japan, CI Japan, to come to the stage to tell us about the GEF-Satoyama project, bringing landscapes and seascapes with people to the center of conservation. Dr. Natori's responsibilities at CI Japan include using natural and social science for effective conservation actions towards sustainable development. He covers themes such as sustainable landscapes, biodiversity property areas, natural capital and natural capital protocol, conservation tools development and the use of GIS in conservation. He is a member of CI's biodiversity policy team and serves as a steering committee member for the International Partnership for the Satoyama Initiative, that is IPSI, and Japan Committee for IUCN. He is currently managing the GEF-Satoyama project, which aims to demonstrate the value of socio-ecological production, landscapes and seascapes and biodiversity conservation globally. So ladies and gentlemen, with a huge and a thundering round of applause, please welcome Dr. Natori on stage. Well, utmost disappointment, although I know that a very small bunch of people are here in the banquet hall, but because you had lunch, the applauses can be a little louder. Please give it out loud once again for Dr. Natori. Thank you. Good afternoon. The mic is all yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the Power Foundation for giving me this opportunity. It has been a very remarkable and enriching 2 days. What I'd like to do today is to introduce to you a global initiative, which after participating in the sessions in the past 2 days, I'm sure it is very relevant and of interest to you all. For the Satoyama initiative, and the first question you might ask is what is Satoyama? So it's defined as this way. It is space or landscape and seascape. It has these characteristics, dynamic mosaic of habitats and land uses, and that's the space where harmonious interaction between people and human, people and biodiversity, people and nature, and it's a space where biodiversity is maintained, and at the same time nature provides livelihood for the people living there. And another important characteristic is that that's the space or landscape or seascapes deeply linked to local culture and knowledge. And we believe it's a model. The Satoyama is also called socio-ecological production landscape and seascapes, SEPLS, or SEPLS in short. And we believe SEPLS is the model for people-nature coexistence under increasing global population and food demand. And so Satoyama Initiative is a global effort to realize society in harmony with nature. It is an initiative, global initiative. It was launched at the Convention on Biological Diversity COP10 in 2010 in Nagoya, and it's an initiative that promotes revitalization and sustainable management of sepals around the world. So as I said, sepals has these characteristics, and you can find the relevant landscapes in anywhere in the world and many places in the world. As you can see in the photos, it can be found in Americas, Europe, Asia, and Africa. And Satoyama Initiative has a global platform that's the engine for delivering the outcome from the initiative. It's called International Partnership for the Satoyama Initiative, or IPSI. And IPSI has 240 member organizations from all over the world, including the government agencies. Like the IPSI has national government as a member from Peru, Japan, Madagascar, Nepal, Costa Rica, and some other countries, and also international organizations like UNDP, UNEP, or IUCN, and many NGOs as a member, and also academic institutions like universities, a research institute, and private sectors. And IPSI promotes the network and collaboration among the members, and the secretariat is housed in the United Nations University. And that's the global initiative, and what I'd like to do next is to introduce or explain to you the one concrete example of the initiatives and projects that's conducted under the umbrella of Satoyama Initiative. And GEF-Satoyama project is the name of it, and this is the project that I'm managing right now. It has the vision of society in harmony with nature, and we try to do so by mainstreaming the conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity into public policy and plans. So in the beginning of the project, we identified 3 barriers that sepals faces globally. And the first theme or the question is, how can we have the values of sepals recognized? What we mean by that is, if someone say protected areas, people immediately know what it is and what the value of that is. Or if you say urban landscape, people understand what an urban landscape is and what it's used for. But if it's somewhere in between, there's a human influence natural environment, which is a very important area for biodiversity natural capital. It's where most of the biodiversity natural capital still exist, but the value of those landscapes is not rightly recognized. So how can we get those values recognized? That's the first question. And the second question, how can we capture and make use of traditional knowledge that's in the sepals? As people leave those landscapes and people get old and pass away, and then the traditional knowledge that's held by those people being lost from the landscape and from the surface of the earth forever. So how can we capture that while it's still existing? And the third question is, how can we improve the governance of sepals? Sepals is not designed to be like that, but there are many interests and many activities that the people living there, the synergies and the compromises of those activities came to be the landscape that's maintaining biodiversity at the same time providing people's livelihood. So how can we improve the governance of such landscapes? So the project has these 3 components, and the first component is the providing support to site-based projects, demonstration projects. And second component is knowledge generation. How can we, and it's a component that works with the site-based project to get the generalized information, generalized knowledge, so that landscapes and seascapes other than the ones we are working in can learn and make use of. And component 3 is the capacity building and outreach activities, such as the one I'm doing right now, and try to talk to the people that's like-minded people that's working in a landscape, try to maintain livelihood and biodiversity, providing what we know, and also at the same time we try to learn from the audience like you, so that our output is much enhanced. So through these activities, we try to mainstream biodiversity and natural capital into public policy and programs. So institutional arrangement looked like that. So our funders is a global environment facility, and we have executing team, and as you can see, Conservation International Japan, together with Institute for Global Environmental Strategies and United Nations University. And we have 10 site-based project proponents or partners in 10 different countries, and also has a knowledge generation partners and capacity building and outreach partners, including the Secretariat of the CBD and UNDP. So these are the site-based project partners. We have, as I said, in 3 biodiversity hotspot regions, we have 10 countries, 10 projects. And one of them is the India project in India Northeast in Nagaland, conducted by the Energy and Natural Resource Institute, TERI. So I'd like to briefly describe what that project is. It's conducted in a landscape like this. It's a German cultivation landscape, and it's a little bit of aside, but we have 10 projects, and some of the projects also deal with this kind of landscapes, shifting cultivation or rotational farming. The case in Nagaland and the case in Thailand, the rotational farming activity is considered to be traditional and sustainable, whereas the activities in, say, Madagascar, it's called Tavi, and it's a slash and burn. It is an unsustainable way of agriculture, but it's referred to with the same language, same words, like slash and burn, and the people are suffering. The people in Nagaland and also in Thailand is suffering from that stereotyping, that slash and burn, the rotational farming is evil. So people are active in the landscape and try to correct that negative stereotyping. It was a sidetrack, but the main activities of the project conducted by TERI in Nagaland is the creation and the maintenance of the community conserved areas. So in Nagaland, wildlife hunting is a part of the culture. And when I first visited that site, one of the local champions of the community, Ivan, told me that we Nagas eat everything that moves. And people do eat everything that moves, hunt and eat. But they realize that they are doing that too much, and their forest is now becoming empty forest, and they don't have birds and wildlife, birds and animals that used to be there. So they decided, 3 villages come together and decided to protect the tract of landscape, as you can see in the photos, as a community conserved area. And they stopped doing the hunting activities there. And in those landscapes, they also have very rich resources, tourism resources, in this case, the great hornbill and butterflies, and the birders and butterfly watchers love to come here and enjoy those natural species. So people there is using these resources as an ecotourism activities, and these are the people who is engaged in those activities. At the top is a village chief and the TERI proponents, and also at the bottom is a youth education, youth training activities. And they conducted a biodiversity meet. It's an ecotourism tours that they conducted. The participants gathered from all over India, come to Nagaland and enjoy the landscape and the species that's present there. And then those people went to the forest and found the orchids, the diversity of orchids, very amazing. And the local people knew about that, and they are now growing orchids in their backyard so that the visitors can visit and enjoy the orchids very easily in their backyards. So it's a part of the ecotourism activities. So as I said, we have 10 projects under our project broad umbrella. And because we have 10, we have a very diverse set of activities as listed here. And so we are approaching to the end of the project, and we thought it's a very good idea, will be a good idea to gather everyone that's involved in the project in one place and consolidate experiences. So that's what we did in last August in Mauritius. We gathered 2 representatives from each project, and together with some other experts in the field, about 40 people gathered and exchanged experiences, views, and consolidated their experiences, knowledge. And we addressed the 3 questions that I introduced to you in the beginning of this presentation. And we developed this knowledge products, that's 8-page document that's answering I'm providing our response to these 3 questions. And it will be launched in 2 weeks' time. And sorry it's not available today, but I just sent this draft to the printer this morning. So it will be available in 2 weeks' time. But and then at the same time, when this is launched at the COP14 and then on November 17th, we will have this document available online, so you can take an access and take a look at the URL at the bottom of the page. And this is my contact information. If you're interested in joining the IPSI, that's a great platform of like-minded organizations. That's partners coming together from all over the world. If you want to join the great workforce of 240 organizations, I'm very happy to assist you in joining that network. And GEF-Satoyama project that I just described gave me a reason to be engaged in the Indian conservation activities, and I'd like to continue doing so. And I'm really looking forward to the collaborative partnership going forward. So, thank you very much.